Bonjour classe, bienvenue dans la classe de français 2. Aujourd'hui, on va apprendre le passé composé. Are you ready? On y va. Super bien, class. What do we see in front of us here? First, we have to review our verb avoir. When you want to talk about things that happened in the past, avoir is a crucial verb to use. So, let's review. J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. And do you remember la petite chanson? J'ai, tu as, il a, elle a, nous avons, vous avez, ils ont, elles ont. Voila. Get that verb memorized because this week, next week, really all the way through the rest of your French learning career, you're going to be using this verb on the regular. Okay, let's see how avoir fits into the past tense. If you want to say that you did something yesterday, you would say, j'ai, there's avoir, regardé le film. I watched the movie. If you want to say you watched the movie, tu as regardé le film. What about he watched the movie? Il a regardé le film. Are you seeing a pattern here? We all watched the movie. Nous avons regardé le film. All of you watched the movie. Vous avez regardé le film. And they watched the movie. Ils ont regardé le film. So to say that something happened in the past, yesterday, last week, even last year, you start with avoir. J'ai regardé. Tu as regardé. Il a regardé. And what do you notice about that verb regarder? How is that spelled? How is that used? Regarder with an accent aigu. And look, it's the same for tu. Tu as regardé with an accent aigu. Voilà. Il a regardé. Elle a regardé with an accent aigu. In fact, you'll notice this doesn't change at all. It doesn't matter what the subject is, whether it's je or nous or il plural. This past participle, this past tense form of the verb, is always going to be the same. Regarder, regarder, regarder. So what you're really doing is just conjugating avoir and then adding this on to the end. This is very similar to what we did with aller and venir a couple of weeks ago. When two verbs go walking, the first one does the talking. We have two verbs. We have avoir and we have regarder. And you'll notice that avoir is the one that gets conjugated. Regarder is not in the infinitive form with the er, but it is in its past tense form. That doesn't change. So this is the conjugation, and this is just the past participle with the accent aigu. Here are a few more examples doing the same thing. J'ai rencontré des amis. I met up with friends. Tu as étudié. Notice that accent aigu. Il a regardé le film. We saw that one before. Nous avons parlé. We spoke. Vous avez lavé la voiture. You all washed the car. Et ils ont mangé. They ate. Past tense. Now, I can mix all of these up if I wanted to, because it doesn't matter what the subject is. I could say tu as étudié or il a étudié. And étudier doesn't change. I could say vous avez étudié. Vous avez étudié. Étudier stays the same. What changes is avoir. So you have to have avoir in this conjugation to talk about the past. Again, just like we used aller to talk about the future, now we're using avoir to talk about the past. And what does avoir mean? J'ai, tu as, il a. It means I have. So it's kind of logique, kind of logical to say I have done something, right? It puts us in the past. Here are a whole bunch more examples. Look at all these verbs you can use. J'ai parlé, j'ai mangé, j'ai écouté. I spoke, I ate, I listened. Il a visité, il a travaillé, il a acheté. He visited, he worked, he bought. Nous avons nagé. We swam. Vous avez regardé. You watched. Now notice these verbs, what they all have in common is the E with the accent aigu. Because what kind of verbs are those? Class, those are regular ER verbs. Look at this group over here in blue. It's a little different. J'ai fini. I finished. Tu as choisi. You chose. Elle a dormi. She slept. What kind of verbs are these? These are regular IR verbs. So you'll notice when you want to use an IR verb in the Passe Compose to talk about something that happened in the past, you're going to put I at the ending. Instead of the E with the accent aigu, it's fini, choisi, dormi. And then we have one last group down here. Nous avons attendu. We waited. Vous avez vendu. You sold something. Et ils ont répondu. They responded. All of these end with a U. Do you know what kind of verb they are? Regular RE verbs. So if it's a regular RE verb and you want to talk about what happened in the past, you're going to change that ending to a U. And don't forget avoir. Avoir is absolutely crucial. So, of course, class, of course, there's a song. I always have a song to help you remember these things. This will help you to remember what you need to form the Passe Compose. And the song goes like this. Passe, passe, passe composé, avoir, être, participe passé. J'ai tout ce qu'il faut pour exprimer tous les verbes au passé composé. Now this little thing right here, this little être is in parentheses and italics because we'll talk about that later. It does come into play in the Passe Compose. But for right now, everything we're doing will have avoir and the participe passé. You sing that little ditty to yourself, you'll remember I have to have avoir and the participe passé. Shall we practice? Mais oui, madame. Take a look at this little story up top. Le week-end dernier, j'ai regardé un film. J'ai assisté à un match et j'ai nagé à la piscine. The Passe Compose talks about what happened. So, last weekend, I watched a movie. J'ai regardé un film. I went to a game. J'ai assisté à un match. And I swam at the pool. J'ai nagé à la piscine. Here's another. Le week-end dernier, Marc a retrouvé des copains. Il a fait une promenade. Il a rangé sa chambre. Last weekend, Mark met up with friends. He took a walk and he cleaned his room. You'll see a lot of similarities because we have retrouvé, ranger with the accent aigu. Just like up here we had regarder, nager with the accent aigu. The thing that changes is your conjugation of avoir. J'ai regardé as opposed to il a retrouvé. So depending on who you're telling the story about, you're going to conjugate avoir with that person, and the past participle, the passé composé, stays the same. So now can you talk about these people's weekends? Let's start with the simple one. Je. J'ai. And then what is our verb? Regarder. I'm trying to write with the mouse, so it might not turn out so great. Woohoo! J'ai regardé. I have my tablet here, but it's being a little ornery. It doesn't want to work for me. You can see it kind of, well, I'm trying. Try it one more time. Come on, tablet, do your stuff. Oh, I think I got it. Okay, class, my writing will be much better now. What did this little guy do? He's got his glasses, he's got his book. Il a étudié. Étudié with an accent aigu. How about right here? Il a joué au basket. Oui? What did we do? Nous avons, oops, that's a V. Nous avons dîné with an accent aigu. Up here, let's do tu. Tu as lavé la voiture. And finally, how about this girl? Elle a écouté la musique. For all of these, we're conjugating avoir. Tu as, elle a, nous avons, il a, j'ai. And then we use the past participle form with the accent aigu, or maybe if it was a different verb like finir or vendre, you would use the I or the U. Et voilà le passé composé. C'est assez facile? Okay, class. Practice a little more on your own. Of course, we will practice in class, but now you understand the basic form, how to talk about things that happened yesterday. Est-ce que c'est bon? Oui, madame, c'est très bon. Trying to cue up my music for the very end. Voilà. Merci beaucoup. À la prochaine. Au revoir.